Evening all, welcome to Kicking Dust. Right, this is this was quite a frantic battle, and I thought I'd bring this to you, mainly because I think it shows quite an interesting group of players. There's quite a few kind of high-end players here, let's say, and I think it just shows you maybe some of the kind of interesting tactics that are certainly being used throughout the game. Now, it's funny really because I think skirmish used to be pretty much exclusively the only mode other than ambush. And it's interesting now that it's kind of, I guess it feels very much in second place when you compare it to things like domination. I think this is just my observation, you don't necessarily get incredibly good fights in skirmish anymore because I think everybody's so focused on capturing the point that it doesn't really, well, it doesn't really feel like it's a particularly, kind of a used level anymore. I know all PC battles are obviously skirmishes, but I think it's kind of interesting because I think there's something quite cool, I think, about maybe having a few more game mode, let's say. And it's interesting, I think, because obviously, there's quite a lot of stuff about to happen in October, such as, things like Battlefield 4's open beta is going to be open. I think that even starts maybe tomorrow. We've got our GTA Online. That's actually pretty cool. We've actually started a squad, a heist, a crew, I guess they call them. And it's called SquadB. So if you're welcome to join, if you want to come be muscle for Pyrex. Basically, we're going to do whatever we can in that, because I think GTA's got a lovely kind of sandbox feel to it that I kind of reference, because I think it would be nice if Dust had a little bit more kind of open world scenario about it. Now, I know this is kind of hard because, you're going to have to go to your PlanetSide 2s for that kind of more open PvP, yet open sandbox adventure. However, I think it would be cool if Dust could find a way to do that. I know we spoke in certainly previous videos about how the game could be, kind of opened up. More so, I think that it's a tricky one because I think a lot of the time the architecture is not there, the game design is not really enabling sandbox adventure. Plus, I think a lot of people just literally will treat this as a coffee table shooter at times, where they don't really want to put some thought into it. They just want to log on, get into a match, and shoot stuff, which you can't argue with that. That's a very valid point of view. I think for myself, I would like to see a bit more depth. Post in the comments. I'd be interested to see how many people kind of want the open world, maybe the sandbox style game play in Dust versus maybe they're quite happy with the fact that it's round based, the fact that PC is, take a ticket and wait your turn kind of stuff. And I just think it's kind of, to me, it's not my idea of cool, but hey, for others it may be. I guess it comes down to, things like Counter-Strike. I mean, I remember playing Counter-Strike years ago, and that obviously was very round-based. There was no, no open world element to it. And maybe, just maybe, there is absolutely no desire to build open world gameplay, etc. into Dust, which is also a possibility, but who knows? I think it's something that I would love to see. I'd love to see a bit more Eve-ness in Dust. I think Dust and Eve at the moment, they're very different games, obviously, in terms of their genre, but they also feel very different. And that's a bit of a shame, because I think it would be nice to have a bit more of a feel in both ways. I think it's not just one way from Eve to Dust. I think it would be nice to have if Eve had a bit more of the quickness and the quick play of Dust in Eve would be nice as well. But these are all very difficult things. You change one thing and you end up annoying and alienating whole groups of players. So it's such a kind of a delicate thing to balance. Anyway, I think we'll see how this develops. I think a lot of the time I'm really loving the fact that Dust is so kind of fast paced. I think it's a great kind of, it is a good shooter, if that makes any sense. But I think just sometimes you want that little bit more. You want it to mean a little bit more. So, you're having these battles, you're stomping people's faces into the dust. But, it would be nice if it maybe meant a little bit more, I think it's difficult to get that kind of across. But, hopefully that will certainly develop in the near future. Let's shoot this dude in the back, and there he goes down. Let's talk about some fittings then. I think it's interesting the amount of hate that ARs are getting at the moment. As you've probably noticed, I run AR and Flaylock quite exclusively. I still do run shotgun. I've been doing some more shotgunning lately. And it's I like shotgunning, but it must be something like any gun in this game where you've really got to put your time into it to get used to it. Otherwise, forget it. And I think shotgunning is one of those annoying things that once I've done it for say a week solid, I get really good at it and I'm pretty good and I'm pretty happy, and then I go and do the AR or another gun and I forget how the game plays. And I must just have that sort of memory, because when I tanked for like 2 weeks straight, when I came back into the scout suit, I couldn't kill a thing. And I think that's quite an interesting condition of my mind statement, I guess. But it's a funny one because, you know, I think so many players, and this is true, this is the thing that completely slays me, is that when you see the same, you know, very good players, don't get me wrong, but they're pretty much only very good because they just run the same fit eternally. And I mean, every match, the same suit. You know, you go to their fittings, one fitting, that's it. You go to you go to their kind of, you know, their cure ball position, very, very high, because they have mastered a particular suit, usually the best suit in the game with the best gun in the game, etc., etc. But that's it. And I think, yeah, maybe again, that's probably a good side of my brain. I get very bored of repetition like that. So I think I kind of try different guns, different stuff. And I think, again, I would say, you know, my time with the AR, having been very effective, is actually coming a little bit to the end. I think, you know, it's time for another gun now. I don't know what, but I think, you know, it's just eventually you do get to the point where you just think, I'm not going to be kind of fit of the month ass hat. I do want to try a different gun, you know, and try something else. So tanking was different. The next project on my list is dropships, assault dropships, nonetheless. So naturally, I'm using my my perceived influence, if I have any, to get Forge Guns nerfed, so I can basically own it up in my assault dropship. And yeah, I am kidding. Don't worry, that's not what I'm doing. Or is it .jpeg? Anyways, I think it's a funny thing, really. I think, you know, a lot of the, I don't know, if you balance one thing, then another thing changes, and blah, 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 and it just gets a bit kind of, I don't know, difficult to really adjust, I would imagine. But don't just run one suit continually. Try some other stuff. I mean, even I tried the assault drop suit. I tried, you know, heavy suit for a while. I mean, you know, try and get a good kind of range of stuff that you want to do. I think it's difficult to kind of say this without being rude, but I think a lot of people, they just want to get the fit that gives them the most kills. Probably they're not enjoying it. Probably they hate the gun, but, you know, then what's the point? But anyway, that's a topic best left alone. So I think, you know, as we sort of progress through the, you know, the next few months, the next few updates, hopefully everybody's read the patch notes. Hopefully everybody's kind of aware of what's coming. I think squads are going to get it kind of a lot easier to run. I think people are going to kind of come across a lot more, you know, different, maybe better grouped gangs, if that makes sense. Because I think at the moment, you know, a lot of it does depend on having the right people that you want to play the game with available. And it's a bit of a kind of sad thing, really, that a lot of people, you know, will like to play with a particular group of players. I guess I'm the same. But, you know, sometimes you'll want to do something like a full tank squad, so everybody's in a tank, or maybe you want to do something where everyone's in a dropship, or something like that. You know, that should become a little bit more easier to do. I still suspect the same, you know, sort of smaller groups will just, so it won't impact, I think, the smaller groups and the smaller corps, because probably they are really only a group of maybe 5 to 10 people anyway, so it doesn't really matter there. But I think for the alliances, certainly, I think certainly for also the bigger groups, the bigger corps like ours, that it's just going to be a bit easier to kind of get into a group, and then a group with a purpose. So it's not just, you know, a run gun squad. Maybe you could say this squad is only doing domination, or it's only doing FW, or whatever it may be. So, you know, I think it's that's as a change is quite a big change. That probably has a lot more impact on the game than most people will realize at this point, which is pretty cool. I think the vehicle changes in 1.6, sadly they're not coming now, but will probably change vehicle use massively. They'll probably just completely overhaul the whole vehicle system, which could be, hopefully will be good, but I think that could cause some drama here or there, but we'll see. I think, you know, there's some really good updates coming, and I think hopefully you agree there's a really good future for this game. I certainly do, and I certainly believe there is. I'm a lot more upbeat than I was when 1.4 came out, that's for sure, and I think the reality is that this is a very, very, I don't know, evolving game. Where it was from, you know, a year ago to where it is now, it has come on leaps and bounds. I think it's also becoming a very interesting kind of I guess, developed game from the point of view that, you know, they're listening to the community. There are certain things coming through. There's a lot of streamlining going on at the moment. Now, what I would say is it would be nice to kind of hear now over new content coming. We're always asking for new content, and I totally understand that. But I think now would be the time for CCP to start tempting us with, hey, here's a little picture of this gun, or hey, here's a little picture of this, you know, map style, or whatever it may be. Anyway, we'll see. Hopefully that will be coming through in the next next few months. Hope you enjoyed that. See you next time.